What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So this is going to be a Legion Go 2 versus Xbox Ally X comparison video, and while I'm not necessarily going to hit on everything here, I think it'll be enough bullet points that I found important that will help you if you're kind of trying to decide between these and you're in that higher price range of say $1,000 or more for one of these handhelds. So we'll take a look at some design, ergonomics and comfort, performance, the screens, the price, and some more of my thoughts on the two devices here as we go through the video. So let's go ahead and jump into it, and we'll start with the design of these guys because of course there's a lot of differences when it comes to that. So of course there are big differences in the design and the size, but not necessarily so much with the hardware inside. The Go 2 has the AMD Z2 Extreme, while the Xbox Ally X has the AI Z2 Extreme, which adds the XDNA 2 NPU cores for AI tasks. This can have its benefits and drawbacks, but largely I think you're going to see and they're going to offer the same performance hardware-wise in most games. Software and drivers, though, provided by the OEMs such as ASUS and Lenovo, can be a different story, and we'll see that later on in the performance section of the video. We'll cover the screens and comfort separately later, but obviously we have a big difference in those areas here too. And the Xbox Ally X has that 7-inch 120Hz IPS VRR display, while the Go 2 has an OLED 8.8-inch 1200p display, also with VRR but included with HDR. The Xbox Ally X adopts the more all-in-one body design with the incorporated Xbox controller type look and feel, and think about the looks how you may. It is growing on me here, but it's never been the sleekest device. The Legion Go 2 sticks with their removable controllers and kickstand like they had on the Go 1, making it a more versatile, albeit a bit heavier device than the Xbox Ally X. In my opinion, it does kind of line the Go 2 up more as an all-in-one device for all types of media versus the Xbox Ally X, which does feel very much more kind of purpose-built for gaming in mind. With an 80 watt-hour battery in the Xbox Ally X and a 74 watt-hour battery in the Legion Go 2, both paired with the Z2 Extremes, you can expect some great battery life out of these, both these units, especially compared to what we were more used to with the original Go or some of the other Z1 Extreme devices at launch before, where we would get much less battery life for the performance that we were getting. Where audio was horrible on the Go 1, it's very much improved on the Go 2, which we'll look at closer in the Go 2 review video later, but point is, both of these devices offer some good audio that more than get the job done. Both devices run fairly cool, and neither has had any really loud fans or coil whine for me, so that's been good. In the hands, the Xbox Ally X feels very much geared towards gaming and feels much like holding an Xbox game controller, both in ergonomics and texture and feel of the device. The Legion Go 2, while I will say is heavier and less ergonomically built than the Xbox Ally X, is still comfortable to hold, especially over the Go 1. Lenovo did something really great with the feel of the materials also on the Go 2. Yeah, it's very pricey, but it does have a very premium pricey feel to it when it comes to just in general how the materials on the device feel. It's definitely something that's really nice to hold. Buttons, triggers, and all of that are good for me on both of these devices, but I will say the D-pad and A, B, X, Y buttons on the Go 2 feel much better than over on the Ally X. In my first impressions video, I talked a good bit about the loudness and clunkiness of the Xbox Ally X buttons, and it's something that can be bothersome. It's not a big deal, but it's something that the Go 2 doesn't really have a problem with. Okay, so there's a lot more we could always get into when it comes to the design, but those were the things I wanted to get into the most and talk about. So let's go a bit more, and we're going to talk about the ergonomics and comfort of both of these devices. Okay, so we touched on the comfort some in the design, but I want to get into it a little bit more. For me, just looking at ergonomics and comfort and longer gaming sessions, the Xbox Ally X is more comfortable to hold. It's lighter, it's smaller. With that, there are trade-offs such as that smaller 7-inch IPS screen, which, while fine, will surely be small for some of you and maybe a deal breaker. Now, the Legion Go 2 for me may not be as comfortable, but that doesn't mean it isn't comfortable. As I mentioned, it is improved over the original Legion Go, and for its large size and weight, it does manage to offer a decent amount of comfort for gaming. The trade here is the removable controllers, kickstand, and most importantly, the OLED screen, which is absolutely insane looking in person. And with full HDR support and VRR, it really is the nicest display I've personally used on a PC handheld. So there are always trade-offs, and I don't believe in the perfect quote-unquote PC handheld, at least not yet. Yes, on the Go, you can always set the device down and remove the controllers, kind of changing the game when it comes to comfort. So I tried to look at these in a way of that I use them, which is actually just holding them, rarely removing the controllers and using them as a handheld. Truth is, both devices offer such a great experience. These comparisons can be really tough, and everyone's really going to have their own preferences. But if comfort and longer gaming sessions and a more smaller compact size are your priority, definitely want to take a look at the Xbox Ally X. But if you put that screen size, the OLED tech, removable controllers, and that type of thing as a priority, then you're definitely going to want to lean towards the Legion Go 2. All right, so let's talk about the performance a little bit. And this is something I spent about 4 days and over 40 hours verifying everything. We had factory resets, DDU, and collaboration with 2 other people with this Go 2 to make sure everything was accurate, because Cyberpunk kind of threw me for a loop. But we essentially do have the same hardware here, minus those AI cores like we mentioned earlier on in the video. And most older videos I've seen, or review videos, kind of have the performance very close, with one beating out the other by an FPS or 2, depending on the game. But I believe we've had a BIOS update. We're on 11 now instead of 10 since some of those videos, maybe even a driver. I think some of these games are running a little bit different, which we're going to take a look at here, especially Cyberpunk. Some games seem to run very much identical though, so I think driver issues more than anything, but that new BIOS is suspicious as well. Now, ASUS and Lenovo are both responsible for keeping us updated on all the drivers and keeping things working here, so that's something we're going to be keeping an eye out, and it's something that can affect the performance. You could slam the exact same hardware in here if you wanted to and still wind up with differences in performance because of how they work their drivers and BIOS, firmware, and all that. Now, Battlefield 6 is the game that runs the closest to the same for both, I would say, when it comes to 17 and 25 watt TDPs, and the GPU clocks coming very close to each other and that performance getting very close to each other. There are times where the Go 2, the GPU clocks still fall behind the Xbox Ally X here. Even if I use the Xbox Ally X on desktop mode or full screen mode, makes no difference. I've tested both. It's maybe 1 FPS, so nothing there. I run pretty clean Windows anyway. But yeah, so you'll kind of see that. But Battlefield 6 was like literally the closest thing I was getting, besides Stellar Blade, which I don't have on here, which was an exact match no matter what I did. Now, jumping over to something like Doom, The Dark Ages, it's kind of similar to Battlefield in a way where you'll see a little discrepancy in some of that performance, and a kind of a similar thing with the GPU clocks a little bit lower, even though it does ultimately draw more power on the Go 2 side for things. So again, I think this is firmware, BIOS, driver stuff, and I believe we're on a newer BIOS than any of the review units we're on from videos I've seen and stuff like that. So I think Lenovo can kind of do some tweaking, update our BIOS, firmware, drivers, all that, and get some of this performance back that I think is kind of missing on the Go 2. It's not by a lot depending on the game, but I certainly am seeing it there. And again, I spent well over 40 hours and 4 days in collaborations to really confirm everything on all this. Now, Cyberpunk was very interesting because this one, except, very much different from the other games, it matched GPU clocks and everything almost pound for pound, punch for punch, almost identical when it came to running the 17 watts here for Cyberpunk. And this is one of the first games I had jumped into. I was like, yeah, that's pretty normal. I should expect to see, pretty much basically almost the same performance and numbers out of that there, which is what we did wind up with. And if we get all the way to the end here, you'll see it's going to come down to almost the exact same FPS run on the actual benchmark here for 17 watts. Now, for Cyberpunk 2077, where things are going to get kind of odd, is when we go above 20 watts. We're going to do a 25 watt run, and it has much more difference than any of the other games that I've tested here when it comes to the Go 2 versus the Xbox Ally X. Anywhere from 5 to 7 FPS difference, with 500 to 700 megahertz difference on the GPU clock, which is obviously affecting our FPS and our performance. So again, probably driver related here, where once we're trying to push more TDP, it's just not kicking in those clocks or giving us the performance that the Ally X is on what should be very similar hardware here. So I think there's room for Lenovo to kind of get in here and fix this up, do a little BIOS update, firmware, drivers, whatever they need to do for these games, and kind of even out that performance. Is it a big deal? No. Is the Go 2 broken? No, it's very close. But I am seeing these type of things throughout different games, and it really does depend on what game you're playing, because some games do totally match. I've seen a couple where, yes, the Go 2 is one. I think Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I had it. But these 3 games in particular, I ran into seeing those kind of issues. And it's 3 different age games, kind of like brand new, a year old or 2, and then, Cyberpunk a good bit older. So I thought it was a good thing to take a look at. So anyways, that's the performance side of things here. I think ultimately in the long run, with some updates and stuff, it is early days here in launch time. Both of these devices will get some tweaks and performance will go up and down, and they'll kind of get them where they want them. But I did want to mention everything here in this part of the video. Anyways, guys, that's performance for these. Let's go ahead and move on and wrap things up. I will also cover any updates that come out from Lenovo or ASUS for these devices, especially GPU drivers, and look for these things to get fixed, changed, or maybe other things to get broken, as that does happen sometimes too. Okay, something I think will be a big factor among price and comfort for anyone looking at these will be the screen. For many, it may be the factor, especially if you have been waiting for an OLED screen on these devices. Or even if you're someone who prefers a smaller, more compact screen like the Xbox Ally X, they've got you covered there. Spec-wise, the Xbox Ally X does have that 7-inch 1080p 120Hz IPS VRR display, while the Legion Go 2 has the 8.8-inch 1200p 144Hz OLED HDR VRR display. I think it's pretty obvious what a big part of the price difference here is between these devices, even though we do have other factors out there today. If gorgeous OLED screens are your thing, then hands down, the Go 2 has the best handheld display that I have used. While I may really enjoy what I would call the better comfort of the Xbox Ally X and its overall ergonomics, I really can't deny how amazing it is to game on that big OLED HDR display on the Go 2. It truly is something to see in person if you get a chance or you're shopping around. I think a lot of buyers in this price range of 1K and up will be more willing to dish out a few $100 more for the OLED screen alone when it comes to shopping for devices like this. And with all that wonderful stuff in mind, let's talk a little bit more about the price. For me, here with tax, I paid $1,070 for the Xbox Ally X, and I paid $1,440 for the Lenovo Legion Go 2. So that makes the Legion Go 2 for me about $370 more expensive than the Xbox Ally X. I'm going to be honest here, I don't really like the direction of these handhelds being so expensive versus what we got a couple of years ago. All tech really has been going up and handhelds are up as well, so I get it and there's a lot of factors, but it does indeed feel like a step in the wrong direction from where we were in order to grow the market a couple of years ago. That said, everyone will have their opinions and preferences. For some, the additional $370 for the Go 2 will be a no-brainer, and for others, not worth it based on maybe their wants and needs. If you're watching this video, it's likely that you have the $1,000 to $1,500 for one of these handhelds or similar. In that case, make your own list of wants and needs out of the gaming handheld, or in the Go 2 case, all-in-one media device, because it's going to be great for a lot more things than just gaming. And decide what best fits your budget, lifestyle, needs, wants, all that kind of stuff. For me, it's actually a tough choice as I go back and forth between these devices, and it's not easy for me to find ways to purchase these and review them and cover them myself. But the more I use the Go 2 with the OLED screen, the more I would be inclined to keep it over the Xbox Ally X if I were, in theory, to return one and keep one. That said, I love these devices and would also miss the Xbox Ally X, even though I really am not a fan of the 7-inch screen, which I have talked about many times when it comes to just the Ally devices in general and now the Xbox Ally X device. It does feel more purpose-built for gaming though versus the Legion Go 2, which does feel more designed to really do a lot more than gaming and really consume a lot of different types of media between the size of the screen, the kickstand, and all of that. It's more of a tablet replacement / gaming handheld, and just something else to think about when you're looking at the prices and comparing what you want to get your hands on. So anyways, guys, design, specs, comfort, performance, screen, price, it's all been pretty much laid out. And besides the high prices, I've honestly been enjoying my time with both of these devices, but they definitely call to different audiences, in my opinion. It's just a drastically different experience and kind of what you want out of these things when you're looking at two such kind of different devices next to each other. But definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And also, if you did buy one of these or something similar, just let us know in the comments why you did pick the device that you did. And as always, thanks a lot for coming to watch the video, guys. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you in the next one.